I've self-diagnosed as being someone with wanderlust but a mortgage, which basically means I crave novelty. I crave new things. But I have a herd of children, and I have responsibilities and a job that doesn't necessarily let me travel a lot. So I accomplish my wanderlust by starting new projects. And that works out really well for me because I get the novelty, I get this exciting thing, I get the 7 trips to Menards. And that works out okay. But you notice that I mentioned starting projects and not necessarily finishing them. That's not really part of my wanderlust solution here. And also, just for the record, there's a good chance that this syndrome is actually called ADHD instead of wanderlust with a mortgage, pending diagnosis. So that's caused a little bit of strife in my family because I like to start a project, like the bench I started in March of 2020, but I don't necessarily like to finish them. So then it sits in the basement with wood and tools lying around it that the children probably shouldn't play with. Let's put down the hacksaw. But we've worked out a system now where it's kind of a bartering thing. If I want to start a new project, I kind of have to finish some of the projects I'd already started, which is fair. And it's not like I need permission. We don't have that kind of a relationship, my partner and I. But we do have a relationship of trying to have mutual respect, and I respect him enough to offer to finish these projects. There was a project I wanted to do this summer. I wanted to connect our porch with our new paver patio that I built last summer and only mostly finished, but it's like 95% of the way there, so we're calling it done. And he said, that's fine. You can start this connection project, but you gotta finish putting the pavers under the swing. You gotta finish this corner under the faucet, and you gotta finish laying the edges on the side. I'm like, I got that. We had this conversation in May. I finished those projects last week. But I got them done so I could move on to the porch project, and I was so pleased with myself that I could move on to the porch project. So the porch project had 3 parts to it. I was going to remove a privacy wall because my neighbor put up a lovely 8-foot fence that I no longer have to see her face anymore or her ugly garden. I had removed this privacy wall. I was going to change the railing from this side to that side. And then I was going to build a little step out of the privacy wall that I had just taken down because I'm resourceful and cheap. But the only problem was, in this privacy wall that I had worked so hard to get to work on, there was a couple of wasps hanging around. And I figured, you know what? That's fine. I like nature. I'm not going to get wasp spray. I'm just going to spray them with the hose. It'll be fine. Everybody will be good. And I knew where one of the wasps' nests was, so I start with some trepidation, using my drill to remove some screws, right? And they're not upset about this yet. They're kind of buzzing around, but I have always had a good relationship with wasps. I leave them alone. They leave me alone. We're fine. And these wasps were okay for a while. And I even got to the point that I had revealed where their hives were. But then I got out the hose. And then we were not good anymore. They did not like that I was taking down their homes. And I can't blame them. It was their home. They were beautiful wasps' nests. But they were really cramping my style on getting down this privacy wall. And eventually, they started to realize that the sound of the drill was kind of like a death knell of their impending doom. So they started kind of attacking me anytime I'd go over there. And I'm trying to take this down as quick as I can. And I'd sprayed them with water, so like most of them aren't flying. But I mean, like, it takes a while to take down an entire privacy wall that's 8 foot long. So, you know, I'm going as fast as I can, but they're drying out and they're coming after me, and I'm not really about that. So here I am. I've got my drill in one hand. I've got the hose in the other hand. And I'm trying real hard to, like, John Wayne myself around. Like, I'm screwing out a screw here with the drill, and then I'm like on the lookout, you know, because I'm working on this by myself instead of with a partner, of course. And at one point, I see this big one, and it's coming at me off the wall. And so I put my drill up, and because I thought it was the hose, and it was definitely not the hose, it was the drill, which only made it more angry. And that's how I got my first sting. But we're fine, right? We're good. We're almost done. I got one side down. We're good. We're going on to this one, and it's the most established. So they're the most upset with me for taking away their home. But it's fine. So I'm down on the ground, which is unfortunately like eye level with this hive. And I'm getting out one of them that's down by the bottom. And there's this wasp that's looking at me, and I could see it in his eye. He's like, you're done. I'm gonna get you. You got my whole family, I'm gonna get you. So I go to grab the hose, and I get the hose, and I got the hose this time instead of the drill. And I press it, and I'm like, I'm gonna get you. And then in that moment, I got to experience what it was like in a science lab when you get to use the eye wash station when you've gotten chemicals in your eye, because I sprayed that hose directly into my eyeball. And I'm not just meaning like I sprayed myself a little bit. I mean, it's like the toughest part of the hose where it's like the most direct, the highest setting. And I sprayed it. And it was like my life flashed in front of my eyes if my life was water slide. And I felt the water go underneath my eyelid. And I thought to myself, it's a little bit poetic because that's kind of what I'm doing to the wasps. But in that moment, I was not happy about it because I knew I was going to get water sprayed into my eye and get stung by a wasp, which seems a little extra to me. Luckily, the wasp took pity on me and flew away. That one did not attack. I did, in fact, get the privacy wall down. I did, in fact, get the railing moved to the other side, and I built my little step, and I felt super proud. But I think they can still smell me because sometimes when I go out on the porch, they still come to sting me. And that's not my favorite thing, but I did in fact finish the project, and I finished the other outdoor projects, and I'm going to call that a win. Thank you.